Hello and welcome to a Paladin's Impressions, where I take a first look at games that I find particularly interesting for one reason or another. This is more or less a test series that I'm running that takes cues from how I run my reviews formats, but with more of a first impressions in mind. I'm finding I'm having a hard time keeping up with games that I want to review, but also want to feature in one way or another. This series I've been wanting to do for a while now, just so I can kind of fill the gap. There are games that are interesting to look at, but I don't have time to do a full, thought out review of it. Simply put, I just don't have the time. This is kind of a rough video, and it's kind of intentional, but I also tried to do the best I could with editing and making sure the audio levels were correct and everything. But I just want to kind of put this out there, see what people think, and you can give me feedback afterwards what you thought of it. So, what are we looking at today? We're looking at Seasons After Fall.
What are you doing?
It's a puzzle platformer developed
about
by
me or
Swing
the other
Swing
guardians.
Submarine. An interesting name
There's so much to
for a
do.
game if I ever heard one. It is a puzzle platformer, as previously said, and mostly relies on this mechanic to hold its own throughout the game. What do I really think about this game, though? I don't hate it, which is always a good first statement, right? I mean, this is a very competently crafted platformer. It's more or less on the easy side of the spectrum. The platforming isn't too challenging, but it's not too easy that you can just fall asleep. The puzzles are at least somewhat creative, because as you might have seen by now, you switch between 4 different seasons, as you can see on the screen. And these 4 seasons infect the environment in different ways, such as opening up platforms, opening up plants, or allowing you to traverse to different areas. And what you basically have to do is locate objects around the map, be in the right season at the right time so that you can make progression and generally make progress. It's simple enough that you can grasp it pretty easily, but not so spelled out for you that you can just figure out the puzzles in like 5 seconds. At the same time, it just mostly stays on the easy curve, and there isn't really much to sort of have to think about. As I said, this is very competently made, but if you're looking for a really challenging platformer, or you're looking for a really challenging puzzler, or a combination of the two, Seasons After Fall is not the one to go with. Right now, I like it well enough. I think at least my playthrough, which has been 2 to 3 hours, it's been, okay. The problem is, especially when I kind of think about should I recommend this game or not, it's a puzzle platformer that's competent at best. Some problems I note is that the platforming can sometimes be a little sticky. It's not as immediately fluid as I feel like some platformers should be. It also has performance problems, which is interesting for a game running on a 900 series GPU, a 970. I remember the number. That it has performance problems. And not entirely sure why that is. I especially notice frame drops when I'm switching between seasons, so I'm noticing these frame drops a lot. And as far as I can tell, it's all based on the GPU and how the game performs. So that's generally what I would classify as a problem.
Are you sure there's nothing you want to say to me?
What else to say about it?
No, why?
There is a story
What have I
aspect
done?
to it, but I wouldn't call it much of a story. The main gist of what I've gotten is that you're a spirit that was recently formed, and that there are 4 guardians in this universe that have been tampered with, and they are no longer able to guard the seasons like they were, so you're tasked with basically restoring balance to the world. The antagonist you've already met by the point that I'm showing in this game. There's not a name to her, not much of a personality other than really entitled. Like, you know, that sort of evil entitled, I should already have this because I can't wait any longer. It's not much of a story to wrap your head around, unfortunately. So, you've got a story that's okay, but it's nothing to really dig into. You've got platforming that's okay, but not really much to dig into. You've got puzzles that are okay, but not really much to dig into. There's a theme, isn't there? There's also these little bit of cut story scenes that you can see in front of you. They sort of give flashbacks to what happened before you show up, but other than that, there's not much there. If you like foxes, this is a game to get because you play a lot as a fox, and he is quite adorable.
I can't find her anywhere.
The visuals of the game are really good, but that's like saying that water's wet. A lot of puzzle platformers tend to be visually gorgeous. I can name like 10 of them right now, including Gianna Sisters, this game, and so on. They're, sad as it is to say, they're kind of a dime a dozen. Ori and the Blind Forest, for that matter. That's the problem. You could easily then say, oh, by the way, there's Ori and the Blind Forest. A game that is more visually well done, and with more challenging platforming, and a story that is better written. This game just kind of skirts the line of acceptable, but not bad. And I think that's why it's getting ignored right now. Because it just looks like another puzzle platformer that, you know, somebody clearly put some effort into it. But it's simply outweighed by other better talent. And I frankly can't give you a good reason to play this. The switching between seasons has been done mechanically in other games. It's simply not interesting here. What else to say? Yeah, my biggest dings on it would just be lack of a hook to keep playing, because I'm pretty sure I'm about 50% of the way through it, which, that's also not great, but at the same time, a puzzle platformer should know how long it should go, and if it wants to be short, no problem. But I have no real reason to keep playing it. It's there. It's a game. It functions, more or less. And that's as far as my interest goes. Do I recommend it? No. For the simple reason that there are better games on the market, and the market is flooded with really good platformers. This is not really a standout platformer worth looking at. I hate saying that, but it's the truth. I have no reason to recommend this to any of my friends. I have no real reason to recommend it to my viewers. You've at least gotten to see and hear it and see a bit of gameplay. And you can make your own judgment if you think I'm wrong, but yeah. If you want to get this game, it's on Steam. Yeah, just on Steam right now for $14.99. It's not too bad a price, but it's really hard for me to say because price for me is so subjective now. Should you get it on sale?
contains the
Obviously,
noisiest,
I mean,
most violent
sales
of
are
the
there for a
forms.
reason,
The
but I don't
Mistral.
think $14.99 is
Only
asking
the
too
top of
much.
the stone is visible.
So, there are my
The
thoughts
rest
on
is
Seasons
buried
After Fall.
underground.
Let me know what you think of this video
It's
down in the
not a
comments.
mistake.
I'd
Go
like to
and
hear your
investigate,
feedback on
Fox,
this video.
and find out
Until
what's
next
hiding in
time,
the stone.
I've been KingIsaacLinksr taking a first look at Seasons After Fall.